In a world filled with constant notifications, endless content, and digital noise, our minds are slowly changing, often without us noticing. The way we think, focus, and make decisions is no longer shaped only by our environment or life experiences, but by algorithms, screens, and instant interactions. Technology has become more than a tool, it has become a quiet architect of our habits, emotions, and attention. This audiobook explores how the digital world is reshaping human behavior from the inside out. We will look at how instant rewards weaken our discipline, how constant interruptions affect our memory and clarity, and how online habits slowly reprogram the way we live offline. But this is not a story of fear, it is a guide to taking back control. With practical steps, psychological insights, and reflective ideas, you will learn how to use technology intentionally rather than be used by it. If you find this journey valuable, consider subscribing to stay connected and receive future chapters and audiobooks like this one. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content that inspires growth, clarity, and mindful living. Chapter 1: The Mind in the Age of Notifications. The modern world has turned our devices into constant companions. Every vibration, sound, and pop-up is a small call for attention. Over time, these notifications have trained our minds to stay alert, reactive, and always ready to respond. Instead of choosing when to focus, we allow external triggers to guide our thoughts, often without noticing how deeply they shape our daily behavior. These interruptions may seem harmless, but each one breaks the natural flow of concentration. The brain needs time to enter a deep thinking state, and when a message or alert appears, that mental rhythm resets. What used to be long periods of uninterrupted focus are now fragmented moments of scattered attention. As a result, tasks take longer, ideas feel shallow, and mental clarity becomes harder to reach. Memory is also affected. When we constantly shift between apps, tasks, and platforms, our minds store less information in long-term memory. We are always absorbing new content, but rarely processing it deeply. Instead of remembering important details, we rely on search engines, saved posts, and screenshots. The brain slowly becomes dependent on external storage rather than internal recall. What complicates this even more is the emotional response behind notifications. Each alert releases a small dose of anticipation or reward. We check our phones not only to stay informed, but because the possibility of new information feels exciting. Over time, the mind starts seeking these small rushes, turning distraction into a habit and the habit into a silent addiction. This cycle changes how we think about silence and stillness. Many people feel uncomfortable when there are no digital inputs. Waiting in line, sitting alone, or even resting becomes moments we instinctively fill with scrolling. The brain forgets how to be calm, how to observe, how to simply exist without stimulation. Understanding this shift is the first step. When we become aware of how notifications reshape our attention, we can begin to take control again. The goal is not to abandon technology, but to use it with intention, choosing when to connect instead of reacting without thought. This awareness sets the foundation for reclaiming focus, clarity, and mental presence in a noisy digital world. Chapter 2: Fast Stimulation and the Lazy Mind. Technology has made it easier than ever to feel rewarded without effort. A like, a comment, a short video, a notification, each one gives the brain a quick hit of pleasure. These small bursts of dopamine create a cycle of instant satisfaction. Instead of working for long-term rewards, our minds start craving what is immediate, fast, and effortless. Over time, the brain becomes less willing to wait, less willing to struggle, and less patient with slow progress. This shift affects our motivation deeply. When your brain becomes used to quick rewards, tasks that require time and effort, studying, building a business, reading, exercising, start to feel too hard or boring. It is not because you are incapable, it is because your mind has been conditioned to prefer the easy path. The habit of scrolling replaces the habit of building. The desire for entertainment replaces the desire for growth. Instant stimulation also reduces the strength of willpower. In the past, people had to work, wait, and earn satisfaction through action. Now, we can feel a sense of achievement without doing anything meaningful. The brain begins to confuse consumption with accomplishment. Watching a motivational video feels like progress, even if you never apply the lessons. Saving fitness posts feels like improvement, even if you never work out. The reward comes without the journey. This creates a silent trap. The more we rely on fast stimulation, the weaker our inner drive becomes. We avoid long-term goals because they demand consistency, patience, and discomfort. The mind becomes lazy, not in intelligence, but in effort. It prefers shortcuts, hacks, and easy wins. The idea of working toward a distant result feels unfamiliar, even painful. To break this cycle, we must retrain the brain to value delayed gratification. This means intentionally choosing activities that give reward after effort, not before. Reading instead of scrolling. Creating instead of consuming. Finishing a task before checking notifications. Every small decision strengthens the mental muscles that instant gratification has weakened. The goal is balance, not rejection. Technology can inspire, teach, and connect us if used with intention. But we must guard our minds from slipping into autopilot. When we make effort meaningful again, motivation stops relying on fast stimulation and becomes rooted in purpose. True satisfaction returns, not from what is easy, but from what is earned. Chapter 3: The Cycle of Instant Gratification. We live in a world where entertainment never ends. With just a tap, we can watch endless videos, scroll through social feeds, or distract ourselves with content that asks nothing from us. This constant stream doesn't just entertain, it conditions our minds to depend on quick emotional highs. The longer we stay in this cycle, the more our brains crave fast pleasure, and the harder it becomes to enjoy slower, meaningful experiences like reading, studying, or building something valuable. This kind of stimulation can affect mental well-being in subtle ways. When the brain gets used to fast rewards, everyday life may start to feel dull or empty. Tasks that once felt satisfying now seem boring. Moments of quiet feel uncomfortable. Even relationships and real-world experiences may lose their spark because they cannot compete with the intensity of digital stimulation. Instead of feeling present, we feel restless. Instead of feeling fulfilled, we feel hungry for more. Some forms of online content can be especially addictive because they trigger strong emotional responses, whether through humor, shock, or desire. These experiences can create habits that are difficult to break, not because we lack willpower, but because the brain memorized the pattern: stress escape, quick reward. Over time, this pattern can weaken self-control and reduce motivation, leaving us stuck in cycles of consumption instead of growth. The challenge becomes even greater when these habits touch personal areas of vulnerability, such as loneliness, stress, or low self-esteem. In these moments, the digital world offers an easy escape, a temporary relief that feels better than facing reality. But each escape makes returning to real effort harder. The brain begins to look for comfort instead of progress, pleasure instead of responsibility, distraction instead of purpose. Breaking free from this cycle requires awareness and patience. The first step is recognizing when you are seeking comfort instead of growth. The next step is replacing the instant reward with healthier alternatives, like exercise, hobbies, learning, or meaningful connections. These activities may feel difficult at first because they reward you slowly, but over time they rebuild internal motivation and emotional stability. This is not about abandoning technology, it's about using it with intention. When you choose what you consume instead of letting algorithms decide for you, you regain control. Progress may feel slow at first, but it leads to a deeper kind of fulfillment, not just pleasure in the moment, but pride in the person you are becoming. Before we continue the book, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Your support helps us bring you more amazing audiobooks every week. Chapter 4: Rebuilding Conscious Habits. Changing your habits begins with awareness. Many of the routines that shape our daily lives happen without thought: scrolling before bed, checking notifications during conversations, reaching for entertainment whenever we feel bored. These habits are not always chosen, they form quietly, through repetition and convenience. The first step toward rebuilding conscious habits is noticing what triggers your actions. Ask yourself, why am I picking up my phone right now? Am I seeking connection, or avoiding something harder? Awareness turns automatic behavior into intentional choice. Once you become aware of your habits, change should happen gradually, not through sudden, unrealistic rules. Trying to quit everything at once often leads to frustration and relapse. Instead, start small. If you watch videos for 2 hours, try reducing it to 90 minutes. If you check your phone first thing in the morning, delay it by 10 minutes and use that time to breathe or stretch. These small adjustments help retrain the mind slowly, without overwhelming it. Progress that grows step by step is more sustainable than drastic overnight change. Replacing old habits with healthier alternatives is more effective than simply removing them. When you feel the urge to escape into distraction, offer yourself a different path: journaling, a short walk, a podcast, reading, or working on a small goal. The goal is not to eliminate comfort, but to choose comfort that supports growth rather than postpones it. Over time, these new choices become automatic, just like the habits they replace. Positive reinforcement can accelerate this process. Celebrate small wins, no matter how simple they seem. Finishing a task, resisting an impulse, or choosing a mindful break instead of endless scrolling are victories worth acknowledging. When your brain associates effort with good feelings, pride, clarity, calm, you naturally want to repeat the behavior. Fulfillment becomes the reward, replacing the cheap dopamine rush of instant gratification. The environment around you also plays a powerful role in shaping habits. Set up your surroundings to support the person you want to become. Keep your phone out of reach while working, place books somewhere visible, organize your workspace, and remove apps that drain your time. A supportive environment reduces the need for constant self-control by making the right choices easier, not harder. Ultimately, rebuilding conscious habits is about reclaiming your inner authority. You are not fighting technology, you are guiding your attention toward what matters. With consistent awareness, gradual change, positive reinforcement, and a supportive environment, you begin shaping a life that feels intentional and aligned with your values. You stop letting habits control you, and start using habits to build the future you want. Chapter 5: Digital Discipline. Digital discipline is not about rejecting technology, it's about using it with intention. In a world where every app competes for your attention, you need systems that help you stay in control instead of slipping into endless scrolling, multitasking, and digital overload. The goal is to build boundaries that protect your focus, your time, and your mental clarity. When used wisely, technology becomes a tool for growth rather than a trap that drains your energy. A strong foundation for digital discipline starts with managing your phone, which is often the biggest source of distraction. Simple steps, such as turning off non-essential notifications, keeping your device outside the bedroom, or using Do Not Disturb during work hours, can dramatically reduce interruptions. You can also move distracting apps off the home screen or log out after each use to add friction. These small changes make impulsive habits less automatic and give your mind more room to think before reacting. Tools and apps designed to support discipline can be powerful allies. Productivity timers like Pomodoro apps help you work in focused intervals, while website blockers limit access to platforms that consume attention without adding value. Screen time trackers reveal how many hours you actually spend online, helping you notice patterns you might overlook. You can even schedule specific time windows for social media or entertainment, turning them from constant habits into deliberate choices. Creating digital boundaries extends beyond apps. It affects how you structure your day. Consider a tech-free morning to start your day with clarity instead of noise. Replace scrolling before bed with reading or reflection to sleep better. Schedule uninterrupted work blocks and keep your phone out of reach or in a different room. When you separate digital time from real-life time, you regain control over your energy instead of letting screens shape your mood and schedule. Equally important is curating the content you consume. Unfollow accounts that drain your motivation, add no value, or trigger comparison. Follow creators, channels, and communities that teach, inspire, or help you grow. When your digital world becomes meaningful and intentional, you reduce the impulse to seek mindless distraction. Your online experience begins to serve you, rather than control you. In the end, digital discipline is a lifestyle shift. It transforms technology from a constant stimulus into a strategic asset. You become more focused, more creative, and more aware of where your time goes. By managing your devices, building healthier habits, and choosing what to engage with, you create space for deeper thinking, real progress, and a calmer mind. Technology stays in your hands, not the other way around. Chapter 6: The Soul Amid the Noise. In a world filled with constant alerts, endless conversations, and a flood of information, it's easy to forget that we have an inner world that needs attention too. Technology connects us to millions of people, but it often disconnects us from ourselves. This chapter is a reminder that growth is not only about productivity and habits, it's also about grounding your spirit, finding peace, and living with intention. When the external world becomes loud, the soul becomes your compass. Returning inward begins with awareness. Instead of reacting to every buzz or message, pause and observe what's happening inside you, how you feel, what you want, and what truly matters in that moment. Even small moments of silence, like sitting quietly before starting work or reflecting at the end of the day, create space for clarity. These pauses help you break the cycle of automatic behaviors fueled by technology and reconnect you with your deeper values. Faith and meaning play a role here, regardless of how each person defines them. Belief, whether spiritual, philosophical, or moral, gives your actions purpose beyond quick rewards. When you focus on something greater than short-term gratification, it becomes easier to resist distractions and stay committed to long-term growth. Discipline becomes less about force and more about alignment with who you want to be. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, journaling, or prayer help calm the nervous system that technology constantly overstimulates. Just 5 minutes of stillness can reduce anxiety, sharpen focus, and restore mental balance. These practices turn inward attention into a daily ritual, offering a stable ground while the world moves fast. They remind you that peace isn't found by escaping life, but by meeting it with awareness. Living with intention means choosing how you spend your attention, not letting it be stolen. When you wake up, set a purpose for the day before touching your phone. When you work, give your full presence to the task. When you rest, rest fully without guilt. This kind of intentional living transforms even simple actions, walking, eating, reading, into meaningful experiences, rather than rushed moments drowned in digital noise. Ultimately, the true power of the self lies at the intersection of discipline and soul. Technology shapes habits, but your inner world shapes direction. When you nurture both, you create a life that is productive yet peaceful, connected yet grounded. Amid all the screens, sounds, and distractions, the quiet voice within you remains the guide. Learning to hear it, clearly and consistently, is what leads to a balanced, meaningful, and deeply human life. As you reach the final page of this book, remember that reprogramming yourself is not a one-time event, it's a continuous journey. You now understand how beliefs shape identity, how habits sculpt destiny, and how conscious action rewrites your inner code. The tools are in your hands, and every small decision from this moment forward has the power to shift who you become. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. Change begins with a single step, waking up with intention, choosing discipline over comfort, and taking responsibility for your story. When setbacks come, and they will, see them as data, not defeat. Growth happens when you keep moving even when motivation fades, because consistency builds the version of you that you dream of becoming. Now your task is simple: apply what you've learned. Rewrite the limiting patterns. Reinforce the empowering ones. Live with clarity, purpose, and belief. This book ends here, but your transformation begins now. The next chapter is unwritten, and you are the author.